You read the headlines,
Yeah.
right, like almost every single day.
Oh, yeah, constantly.
You see these massive, just sweeping declarations about how artificial intelligence is going to, cure all known diseases,
Mm.
or how we're on the absolute brink of achieving superintelligence.
Right, the really grand utopian stuff.
Exactly. And if you're anything like me, you read that, you nod, and then your very next thought is, well, that is genuinely great for humanity, but um, how exactly does that help me pay my rent this month?
Yeah.
Like, how does that secure my job?
It is the ultimate disconnect of our current era, really. I mean, we are living in a time of unprecedented technological breakthrough, yet the immediate practical translation of that breakthrough to the average person's daily life, it feels incredibly distant.
It really does.
Because the high-level utopian vision, it isn't putting food on the table, and it certainly isn't quelling the anxiety people feel about their own obsolescence.
And that right there is the core tension we are exploring in today's deep dive. So we are unpacking a highly revealing press release from April 2026, issued by a company called EON AI Ventures.
Mm-hmm.
And they are attempting to answer that exact what's in it for me question with this new initiative they're calling the AI Founder Program. It's pitched as a 90-day sprint designed to take you from wherever you are right now and bridge that massive gap between those lofty AI promises and your actual literal paycheck.
Which is sorely needed right now.
Right. Because looking at the current landscape, it really feels like we are all passengers strapped into this massive, incredibly fast rocket ship built by a handful of tech giants. The engines are roaring, we are moving at light speed, but we haven't been given any of the controls. We're just sort of along for the ride.
Yeah, and that feeling of powerlessness, it isn't just anecdotal, it's an actual economic reality holding back the broader workforce.
Why?
Yeah, to understand why a program like EON's exists in the first place, we really have to look at the psychological bottleneck that is currently stalling out the AI revolution for the everyday worker. We are seeing a crisis of stagnant adoption that's kind of being masked by all this high-level hype.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the numbers in this release are staggering.
Mm.
You would think, given how much we talk about the AI boom, that every professional is just knee-deep in it.
You would think so, yeah.
But the AI anxiety metric they highlight shows that nearly 50% of Americans are currently more anxious than they are excited about artificial intelligence. Half the country is actively stressed out.
It's wild.
And the adoption lag is equally severe. I mean, only about 1 in 3 workers are actually using AI on the job right now. So my question to you is, if this technology is supposedly so revolutionary, why are 2 out of 3 workers completely ignoring it? Like, are people just digging their heels in?
What's fascinating here is that it has absolutely nothing to do with stubbornness or, an unwillingness to learn. It comes down to a fundamental lack of what EON calls economic agency.
Economic agency, okay.
Right. Think about how AI has been introduced to the workforce over the last few years. The current training models mostly focus on teaching people how to write better prompts for generative AI chatbots. You log in, you type a request, and you get an output to help your employer.
Which, honestly, feels incredibly short-sighted for a tech-literate workforce. Like, we're past the era of being impressed by a chatbot just drafting a polite email.
Precisely. Learning to write a prompt doesn't give you ownership. It just makes you a slightly more efficient cog in someone else's system. And people are highly rational economic actors.
Yeah.
They don't want to spend their time and energy learning to operate a tool that ultimately might be used to automate their own department.
I mean, why train your replacement?
Yeah, that makes total sense. They want to own the tool. If you are just a user of a monthly subscription service, you have zero leverage. The moment the algorithm updates, your skills are obsolete. But if you own the output and the means of production, you have actual agency. EON's entire thesis is built on shifting the user from labor to capital.
So if the anxiety comes from feeling like a disposable user, true relief only comes from ownership.
Exactly.
But what does it actually look like to own AI? Because looking at EON's proposed solution, it doesn't look like a standard software subscription. The release outlines a one-time cost of $975 for this 90-day sprint. Let's dig into the mechanics of what that actually buys you.
Okay, so the first deliverable is the deployment of 250 AI workers, or autonomous agents.
Wait, I need to stop you there. 250, we aren't talking about 250 chat windows open on a desktop, right?
Yeah.
What functionally is an AI worker in this context?
Good question. So an autonomous agent is a piece of software that doesn't just wait for you to type a question. It is given a goal, and it executes a series of tasks to achieve that goal. It interacts with other software databases and APIs without human intervention. In EON's program, you are assigned a dedicated cluster of 250 of these agents, and they run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you might have 10 agents dedicated to scraping market research, 50 agents writing code, another 20 agents running quality assurance, and so on. You aren't renting access to a global hive mind. You are acquiring a partitioned, deployable asset that you control.
I am just trying to wrap my head around that scale. Going from 0 AI workers to suddenly managing 250. It's like
Yeah.
you are a single person walking into a massive, completely empty factory floor. You flip a switch, and suddenly you have a fully staffed assembly line standing there at attention, waiting for your instructions.
That's a great way to put it.
But, I mean, that introduces a massive logistical nightmare. If I barely have time to manage my own inbox, how am I supposed to orchestrate a factory of 250 autonomous scripts? It seems like a recipe for immediate burnout.
Which is the exact vulnerability EON is solving with the second major deliverable. It's an orchestration layer they call Brainy 2.0.
Brainy 2.0.
Right. You aren't individually managing 250 agents. Brainy 2.0 acts as the middle management layer. They describe it as a 247 personal AI coach modeled after the kind of strategic mentorship you would typically only find in an elite MBA program.
So wait, I talked to Brady 2.0, and the Brady 2.0 translates my strategy into technical commands for the 250 workers.
That is the mechanism, yes. If your goal is to build a piece of logistical software, you discuss the target audience and the feature set with Brainy 2.0.
Okay.
Brainy then synthesizes that conversation, breaks the project down into hundreds of microtasks, and delegates those tasks across your 250 agents. It handles the error reporting, the troubleshooting, the iterative loops. It manages all the chaos so you can focus on the high-level strategy.
Okay, that makes the $975 price tag start to make sense. But it still sounds incredibly theoretical. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of boot camps give you tools, and then you just end up with a project sitting on your hard drive doing nothing.
Sure, that happens a lot.
But the 90-day timeline in this press release claims you don't just walk away with a simulated project. By day 90, you are expected to ship a working live marketplace product.
And this is where EON leverages its existing infrastructure. The product you build gets a live URL on the EON Marketplace.
Right.
According to the source material, that marketplace isn't a ghost town. It already has over 4,400 institutional buyers across more than 80 countries actively sourcing solutions.
But just listing a product doesn't guarantee anyone will buy it, right? I mean, I could list a painting on the internet right now. It doesn't mean a gallery is going to call me. How are they solving the customer acquisition problem?
The release details a distribution engine built into the platform. Because EON already has these 4,400 institutional relationships, their algorithm matches the capabilities of your newly minted AI product directly with the procurement needs of those institutions.
Oh, wow. So it pushes it to them.
Exactly. It essentially bypasses the cold calling phase. For a solo founder, customer acquisition is traditionally where the death spiral happens. EON is basically subsidizing that pipeline.
Okay, so you have the 250 workers, you have the Brainy 2.0 management layer, and you have this baked-in distribution engine. But what if I don't want to be a startup founder? What if I just want to be, undeniably valuable at my current corporate job?
Then you would utilize the EAFI credential, the EON AI Founder Initiative Badge.
What does that do?
It's a tamper-resistant, verifiable credential for employers. Because it's blockchain verified, it proves to an employer that you didn't just watch a few video lectures. It proves you have the technical fluency to actually command an AI multi-agent system.
Got it. So you have all these tools in the arsenal, but pointing them in the right direction is the next hurdle. The materials state that participants have to choose a specific path. They call them doors by day 45 of the sprint.
Yeah, the 3 doors represent 3 distinct applications of this economic agency. It forces the user to commit to a specific commercial outcome rather than just endlessly tinkering with the tech.
Right, because otherwise you just play around forever.
Exactly. So door 2 is the operator. This is exactly what you just mentioned, staying in your current job but deploying your 250 agents to become part of the scarce, indispensable top 10% of workers in your field.
Okay, and door 3?
Door 3 is the builder, which is for someone launching a fully independent AI-native business from scratch to generate their own distinct revenue.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's talk about door 1. Because when I read the description for door 1, I had to read twice.
Ah, yes, the skills path.
Yes, door 1 focuses on using AI to support irreplaceable physical trades. We are talking about plumbers, HVAC technicians, electricians, welders. I have to admit, I was completely lost for a second.
It seems contradictory at first, right?
Completely. Why would you take a 90-day AI founder program to become a plumber? An autonomous agent cannot physically solder a copper pipe. A digital bot cannot walk into a flooded basement and fix a broken water heater.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this specific door completely shatters the pervasive myth that the AI revolution is exclusively reserved for laptop-class tech workers. You are looking at the actual physical labor, but you are ignoring the business of the physical labor.
Okay, walk me through that. How does a digital multi-agent system practically help a welder?
Think about the day-to-day operational reality of an independent HVAC technician running their own business. The physical installation of a furnace is only a fraction of their week.
Right.
The vast majority of their time and the primary bottleneck to their business growth is eaten up by back-office administration. It's routing and dispatching, navigating complex municipal permit applications, managing the supply chain for replacement parts.
Oh, man, yeah.
It's payroll, customer service, and endlessly chasing down unpaid invoices.
I see. So the physical trade remains entirely human, but the corporate infrastructure surrounding it becomes entirely automated.
Precisely. If you deploy your 250 AI agents to handle 100% of that back-office friction, the human being is entirely freed up to do what only the human being can do, which is turn the wrench.
That makes so much sense.
While a traditional plumber is spending 4 hours every evening drowning in paperwork and missing dinner, the Door One participant has their AI workforce handling the dispatching, generating the invoices, and automatically following up with clients flawlessly. 247.
Wow.
They can take on 3 times the physical jobs and scale a local service business in a way that was previously impossible without hiring a massive human administrative staff.
It's turning a single physical worker into a hyper-efficient enterprise.
Yeah.
But here is my hang-up. I have to play the skeptic for a moment.
Fair enough.
The promises outlined in this release are astronomically high. A dedicated team of 250 agents, guaranteed distribution, institutional buyers, 0 administrative overhead. If I'm sitting here right now thinking about handing over $975, my immediate fear is that this is just another generic, overhyped online course.
Yeah, the internet is full of them.
Exactly. It is littered with AI gurus selling useless PDFs. How do we know EON isn't just slapping the word AI on a standard web class?
That skepticism is entirely warranted in the current market. And to address it, we have to look at the underlying architecture of EON AI Ventures and what they call their 100% precision standard.
Okay.
You have to look at the pedigree of the company itself because they are not a consumer tech startup that materialized out of thin air 6 months ago just to capitalize on the AI hype cycle.
Yeah, the press release mentions they were founded by leadership from EON Reality. What does that actually mean for the technology we were talking about?
It means they bring 25 years of experience in immersive learning and extended reality, or XR, solutions. They already operate massive enterprise infrastructure, specifically the enterprise AI platform and their virtual campus, sometimes referred to as Virtual Compass.
Let me pause you. Extended reality and virtual campuses. I mean, that sounds like virtual reality headsets and digital classrooms. How does that translate to 250 autonomous AI agents doing my bookkeeping?
Because EON's core competency for the last 2 decades has been building digital twins and immersive simulations for high-stakes enterprise and government clients.
High stakes.
Right. When you build a virtual training simulation for an oil rig operator or a commercial airline pilot, you are dealing with rigid, deterministic physics. A consumer AI chatbot hallucinating a slightly incorrect fact in a fun poem is harmless.
You sure?
But if an AI hallucinates a protocol on an oil rig simulation or hallucinates a 0 on a plumbing invoice, it is catastrophic.
So they're taking the safety guardrails required for aerospace and energy sectors and applying them to these personal AI agents.
Exactly. That is the 100% rule they mentioned. Generic consumer-facing AI tools are probabilistic. They deliver an answer that might be 80% accurate, but EON's architecture is built for environments where a business relies on the output for actual revenue. It requires 100% precision.
Which explains why the 90-day sprint is actually structured like a rigorous boot camp rather than, a passive video series. You don't just pay your money and get handed the keys to the factory.
No, absolutely not.
You have to complete a 100-course AI fluency curriculum. You have to engage in at least 12 mandatory mentor sessions with Brainy 2.0. And perhaps the most telling requirement, You have to submit a formal venture builder spec by day 45 before you're even allowed to choose your door.
The venture builder spec is crucial. It's essentially a comprehensive architectural blueprint.
Hmm?
You have to map out the business logic, the target audience, and the desired workflows before you are allowed to deploy the agents.
It's like doing your homework before you get to play with the toys.
Exactly. It forces the user to establish a strategic framework, ensuring the agents have a precise set of deterministic goals to execute. It requires actual cognitive labor from the participant.
But EON has introduced a mechanism to counter the financial fear of doing all that labor and still failing. And it's their money-back guarantee.
Right.
It has 4 conditions. You have to actually hit the milestones, do the curriculum, attend the Brandy sessions, submit the spec, and officially launch your product to the marketplace. But if you do all of that and you get absolutely no paying customers, you get a full refund. And the details that really caught my eye is how they process that refund. The release explicitly states it is enforced automatically by the platform, with no subjective reviews or trust-based qualifiers.
The automation of the refund is arguably the most brilliant psychological lever in the entire program.
It's like a vending machine.
Yeah.
If the candy bar doesn't fall, the machine physically has to give you your quarter back. There's no customer service rep deciding if you jiggled the machine too hard or if you, tried your best. It's written into the physics of the transaction. Why is that lack of human friction so vital here?
Because human friction in a refund process is where trust goes to die. We've all been there with subscription cancellations.
Oh, absolutely.
You try to get a guarantee honored, and suddenly you are on the phone with a retention specialist who is subjectively judging your effort. By automating it, making it a condition of the code itself, EON completely removes the psychological barrier of risk.
It just bypasses it entirely.
It forces the platform to literally put its money where its algorithms are. If their distribution engine fails to deliver institutional buyers for a graduate who unequivocally did the work, the system's smart contracts automatically return the capital.
So what does this all mean? When you strip away the multi-agent frameworks, the XR pedigree, and the $975 price tag, what is the actual takeaway from this April 2026 release?
I think it comes down to a specific quote from the chairman of EON AI Ventures, Dan the Jerskar. He says, "With this program, we don't just upgrade skills, we upgrade lives, giving people the agency, freedom, and ownership they need to win in the AI era."
That is the pivotal shift we are witnessing. We are moving away from the paradigm of how do I use this tool to make my boss more money to how do I command this tool to build my own equity. It is the democratization of enterprise-level scale.
The AI economy isn't some distant event waiting for us in the 2030s. It is happening right now, all around you, reshaping industries month by month.
And the choice presented to you, the listener, is very stark. You can either remain a passenger on the rocket ship, constantly anxious that a new algorithm update will automate away your livelihood, or you can step up, take ownership of the tools, and become the person running the assembly line.
This raises an important question, something for you to really mull over long after we wrap up today.
Yeah.
If programs like EON succeed, if they actually deliver on this promise at scale, and suddenly millions of everyday individuals have fleets of 250 AI workers operating flawlessly for them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
Right.
how will that fundamentally redefine what society considers a small business? In just a few short years, could a single person working from their kitchen table, a true company of one, routinely have the productive output, the market power, and the GDP footprint of a traditional mid-sized corporation?
Wow.
And if so, what happens to the massive corporations when their biggest competitors are millions of hyper-efficient individuals?
That is a staggering thought to leave on. A true leveling of the economic playing field, where the bottleneck is no longer how much capital you have to hire staff, but simply how good your ideas are. The rocket ship finally has a steering wheel, and they are handing it out. Think about what you would instruct your 250 workers to build tomorrow. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.